Hey, so I decided I was really bored of my hair and I wanted to do something really different. So I'm just gonna start brushing it out and then I try and do a middle parting. Yes, I know it's not in the middle, but oh well, it doesn't need to be perfect because all I'm gonna be doing first is bleaching my roots. So I just part it, make sure it's sort of down the middle and fairly even so it's a bit easier to apply. Then I go in with my white bleach and 6% developer. So I just start by doing all of my roots, and it takes quite a while, so I will speed it up a little bit. um, so just going in, making sure I don't overlap too much, but a tiny bit, just because there is still a little bit of yellow towards my roots from when I bleached it last time. I'm pretty bad at leaving my roots to grow out for ages, so need to just sort that out. So yeah, I'm just doing the rest of my head now. I try and do it in fairly neat sections just to make sure that it looks fairly good and I get every part of my roots so that I don't miss any bits, and I put it on fairly thickly just to make sure that it is all saturated and there's no bits that are left dry and they process slower or they don't process as much and then they left yellow. um, so yeah, I'm just, yep, nearly done with my hair now. So I'm just doing the back bits, finishing that off, and then I leave that for around 45 minutes. I do check it constantly throughout, so sort of every 10 to 15 minutes I make sure that it's still lifting well. The front of my hair always processes really slowly for some reason. I know on most people it's probably quicker, but I just always do that bit. Annoyingly, I forgot to record me toning my hair, but then this is a couple of days later. So I'm just using some pink that I could get hold of at the minute because obviously with lockdown I've been struggling to get a hold of things. But yeah, so I'm just colouring my one side of my head pink, so it was really hard to actually get all of the line really clear, so I'm going in really slowly. This took me a little while. I also then did struggle trying to get the back done, so as you can see I got my partner to come in and do the back line for me just to make sure that it was nice and tidy. And then what I did is I just carried on putting it through once he'd finished. So you can see in a minute. So yeah, here you can see I'm just slapping it all over my head basically on this one side. I did it in sections again just to make it easier for myself. I didn't know the best way to do sections, so I just sort of went for it. And with this, because it's only a semi-permanent colour mixed with conditioner, I did sort of rub it through my hair just to make sure that it was all saturated completely because I didn't really want it to be too patchy. I know it will be a tiny bit because there is a little bit of banding in my hair, but I got it as good as I could. So yeah, just making sure I use up all the rest of the colour so I don't waste any as well, because I want to make sure that my hair is completely covered, and then clip it out of the way so that it's nice and tidy and I can get started on the other side. So on this side I'm using Wella 10-1 with some silver from a brand that I've used before, just making sure that I get that line neat again. I did get my partner to help, but I didn't record that part. So just going in, making sure it's all covered. Again, I'm doing this in sections because this is an actual colour, so I need to make sure that it is all covered really carefully and I'm not missing any bits that are important. So getting that all through the hair, making sure that it's saturated every single hair strand so it's a nice even colour. So left that for about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit less, washed it off, and here it is. So I was really excited. I have had pink hair before, I've had all sorts of colours, but I've never really done half and half. I absolutely love how bright it came out, also knowing that it will fade quite nicely as well, so the pink will probably go more of a baby pink, and the grey side will just sort of go towards a blonde colour. So I gave it a dry. Here's my awful transitions. And then I blow dried the front so that it was nice and bouncy because we like a bouncy front bit on our hair. Here we go. This took me a little while to do because I'm not very good at blow drying my own hair. I could do it on anyone else but not myself, but that actually ended up looking quite good. So I did want to trim my hair because I haven't had it cut for ages. Obviously, as we're in lockdown, I've not been able to get anyone to help me. I usually get my friend to, and I just tell her exactly what I want and how to do it. So yes, my cut isn't perfect, but I did just trim sort of dead ends off that really needed to be taken away. So I'm just doing it, pulling it all to the front and then just trimming those little bits off there. So I've done one side, now do the other. My hair was slightly uneven because I do tend to sleep more on the side that's pink currently. So I did take a little bit more off the silver side just to make it a bit more even because it was a little bit wonky. But yeah, sorry about putting my head so close to the camera. I didn't really think about that. But so that's sort of done. I've trimmed that a little bit, made it a bit tidier, just getting rid of any little bits that are sort of sticking out that aren't quite right. And then I move on to do my layers in a second. So now I'm just sectioning it off to do my layers. I only took a little bit off these as well because obviously I can't do it perfectly on myself, but I did it how I would do on anyone else. Started off with a section over the crown, and then I took sort of orange segments and pulled them out roughly at the angle that my head is, and just trimmed those bits so that they blended nice enough. And then so you sort of start at the back, and I always work my way around to the front. I tend to do one side and then the other side and then the other side again, and I sort of do it like that so that I can make sure it's staying even. Which is usually quite good for my kind of hair. It does work. Obviously there's different layer techniques you can use on different people, but that's how I like my hair. And just doing that last little front bit now. And then now I don't really like my front too short because I do like it to sort of have a bit of length. I like to be able to tuck it behind my ears, but it was looking a bit wonky and a bit straggly. So what I've done here is just sectioned off the front. I tend to pull it straight up to make the line even, but also so that it fades around my face nicely. And then I tend to point cut this bit because it does look nicer when it's not sort of as harsh. And then what I do is I take each side of the front and pull it back, which gives you sort of a nice gradient around your face. So once I've done one side, just point cutting that again, I do the other side. It does soften the look around your face, and also for me it keeps it long enough to be able to keep tucked behind my ears when I don't want it. So I decided that I needed to do something a bit nice with it now that it was done, so I decided to get my straighteners out, and you'll see the finished look. So I put some makeup on and curled it, and here you go, my finished look. I'm feeling fabulous. I absolutely love it. I'm super proud of myself. So please drop a like, follow and share. Thanks.